What's up, old chums? We are tackling something new that I acquired over Christmas break, and that is Batman Return to the Cape Crusaders.
Knock, knock, open up the door.
It's Will!
So, Batman Return to the Cape Crusaders. This is a new entry into the Batman 66 universe. They've been doing comics recently, and those have been selling like crazy. They've been doing crossovers with Wonder Woman, Green Hornet, etc. And they realized, like, hey, like, there's a market there, and people bought the DVDs recently. They just did that, and people want to go back to this universe. So, of course, they were like, hey, let's get the people we can get, and let's animate this well, and let's put some heart into it, and bam, we got this. And I gotta say, it's actually really good. Like, I'll admit, Batman 66 isn't usually my cup of tea, but I was like, you know what, like, I will throw down and go ahead and get this because, like, I've actually heard good things. I actually like that universe from time to time, and if nothing else, it would be good to see Adam West and Burt Ward and Julie Newmar back in their old roles, and they do a pretty solid job. I will be slightly negative here. People can't help it, but Julie Newmar definitely sounds her age right now, and obviously time isn't on our side or theirs, but with what they have, like, if that's my only complaint with Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders, you're doing a fine job. Like, besides that, the animation was brilliant. They didn't do the traditional Batman 66 intro. They actually did homages to old comics and how they got introduced, and then, like, they kept animating them, like, in their style in this, which is just reminiscent of how they looked in the old TV show, but obviously they're older. They can't really look like they do in real life right now, but just, it looks like they did back in the day, and it looks awesome. Like, this, I could see this Batman crossing over with Scooby-Doo. Like, I could see, like, this being canon with the Scooby-Doo meets Batman stories. So now let's get back to the crazy, convoluted caper that Batman and company have to tackle. The main villains, Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman, have a plan to replicate Earth, to have their own Earth, and they also want to turn Batman evil because Catwoman wants Batman, because as we all know, Batman and Catwoman, that's a thing, and Batman obviously won't turn evil, Catwoman doesn't want to turn good, so of course, mind control, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to mind control him. They stopped them pretty early on, and Catwoman actually uses the potion on Batman, and according to Batman, he has a strong will, and it doesn't work. It doesn't take. So they beat the villains fairly easily. I was like, wow, like, that was it? That's unfortunate. But obviously the movie's still going, so I'm like, oh, maybe there's another plot. Maybe there's another villain going about. Who knows? But actually, the potion Catwoman used actually has a slow effect on him. Even though Batman's got a strong will and was actually fighting against it, it slowly started corrupting him, and he goes evil. He goes mad. He starts being an a-hole. He's, like, rude to Aunt Harriet. Yeah, that's a character. I forgot that was a character in Batman 66. But apparently that's Dick Grayson's aunt. He fires Alfred. Something I never thought I would see in a movie or any interpretation, because, like, Alfred's, like, his adoptive father. Like, what the fuck, Bruce? Like, what are you doing? He's even going at it with Robin, and eventually takes over the city. He's like, hey, like, Commissioner Gordon is so incompetent. Like, I'm taking over the city. Screw all these a-holes. And he gets a hold of this replicator ray, because that's what the villains were going to use to replicate Earth and do their own thing. So Batman uses it on himself and creates an army of himself to take over any position in Gotham City, whether it be mayor, a cook. There's even a cook moment. I thought that was, like, just so surreal. He's like, oh, hey, you don't know anything about culinary skills. Only I do, because I'm Batman. I'm going like, oh my god, like, this would be a 66 thing. And I've got to say, obviously, they can only do this animated because they're limited by Adam West lookalikes, because if they did this back in the day, we could all tell it would have looked so cheesy and silly, and it works. And also with the animated budget here and what they can do with this, we actually get to see a bunch of more Bat gadgets. We get to see a Bat rocket ship later on in this movie, stuff that we wouldn't be able to see in a TV show. Like, if they did, it would be a toy. I'm just being honest here, because this thing looks crazy dope. The Bat shuttle. And I'm just going like, wow, like, they actually put a lot of heart, and they showed a lot of reverence and love for Batman 66. So much so, they're getting a sequel to this with William Shatner, of all people, as Two-Face, because that was a villain they never got to explore in the old TV show. They recently did it in the comics. I don't know if they're going to adapt that story or do a sequel story to that, but I'm just going like, wow, that's going to be crazy. After a while, Catwoman and Robin team up to try to stop the Bat Army. In fact, they actually have to do a prison break and get all of the Batman 66 villains. And that was just nuts. They got King Tut. I actually know that character because I got a hero click of him. The 66, Mr. Freeze, I believe I saw Egghead and a few others I wasn't familiar with. Obviously, they couldn't get all the voices, but like they were animated there and they fought. There was even a moment when Batman's fighting Catwoman initially. He starts to see double, so he sees the other Catwoman there. I don't know if they were actually there or if his mind was just actually playing tricks on him because there's so many Catwomen in the 66 universe. But that was a cool little Easter egg and nod to the continuity of this universe. And obviously, these guys are all outgunned. These are all just like hired thugs and villains. They all get their butts kicked by Batman. But then just some random mysterious figure who apparently is on the set of this TV show that Bruce actually loves. And he becomes the host of now because only Batman can host anything because he's a good host. He's a good TV producer. He knows everything. Batman knows everything. Just don't test him. He knows. He gets outsmarted by this guy. He gives him a drink, and he's cured. And guess who it was? It was Alfred. Because apparently there was a pact like years ago that Bruce and Alfred made, going like, "Hey, if I ever go evil, I'm gonna fire you." Just like that's part of the ruse. Like you gotta come up with an antidote to make me good again, etc., etc. And it just shows how silly 66 Batman is, and just how like prepared Batman is as a character, just even in this silly universe. Like, it even turns out that this plot with like the whole Bat Army and the Replicator gun, like that would have been enough for me, but that was just a distraction. The main villains, Joker, Penguin, Riddler, were actually counting on this to happen and were going on with their plans and doing something else. So they all go team up to stop them. Obviously, the day is saved, and all is well again. Bruce and everybody makes up. They're all having like a birthday dinner for Bruce, I believe, at the end, and they're going on to new adventures. And this is actually pretty solid. I will admit, Batman 66 isn't for everybody, but if you want to get someone interested in it, I would definitely say check this out. It's definitely really good if you were a fan of it. And even if you like Batman Brave and the Bold, that had some of the cheesiness that's in this movie here. And I really liked it, so we're going to go ahead and get to the rating. I got to give Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders a 4.5 out of 5. It's not perfect. Like, I even told you some of the silly plot holes that are in this movie. And just, if you know 66, you know how ridiculous it is. So I couldn't, in good conscience, give it a full perfect tier. It's really good. I really like it. And they're making a sequel to it, so obviously there is demand for these animated features, and I can't wait to check that one out. I might even try to see the Fathom event when they do that. But what do you guys think? Is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments below. And also, what's your favorite either Batman 66 villain or Batman 66 episode? Or you can just mutually keep them together. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, when there's a will, there's a way. Thanks for watching.